from broke to building a $150 million company in just 4 years. Last year, he earned more than the CEOs of LinkedIn, Zoom, HubSpot, and Shopify combined. In most industries, one's youth is equivalent to their experience, but this isn't exactly the case in the software-as-a-service industry. At 31, this guy is the co-founder and CEO of 2 successful SaaS companies, Lemlist and Lempod. Or rather, he was. In the next 5 years, he plans to create 100 millionaires. This is the wild story of Guillaume Moubeche. Let's turn back to 2018. Guillaume is a complete novice. No network, no capital, just an immense hunger to become an entrepreneur. 4 years later, he has co-founded 2 successful startups. Lempod, which grew to $600,000 in annual recurring revenue and was sold, and Lemlist, which currently does more than $15 million in ARR and is valued at more than $150 million. He is 31 years old, and still, no one can pronounce his name correctly, so let's call him G. How did it all start for him? G had a humble upbringing in a financially modest family, so the idea of becoming an entrepreneur never crossed his mind. His parents couldn't afford to go to college, so they put a lot of effort into giving him and his brother the opportunity for a great education. They believed that becoming an engineer was the key to success, so G followed their advice and got a master's degree in chemical engineering. He worked for big companies like Procter & Gamble and Hermes. But after graduating, he felt the need to do something completely different. So he took a break to travel the world for a year. On the trip, he and his best friend turned to social media for free accommodations and exchanged work for longer stays. He did a variety of jobs such as teaching English in Bolivia, working at a coffee farm in Colombia, and learning permaculture in Costa Rica. Experiencing the generosity of people from all over the world was a liberating and fulfilling experience for him. He felt truly free. After returning to Paris, he decided to launch a business to create the same freedom he experienced while traveling. With his dad's expertise in graphic design and fabric printing, they launched a t-shirt brand, Paris Resta un Rêve. Being a chemical engineer with no knowledge of business, he made the decision to study business while his father managed production. With unwavering confidence, he anticipated receiving thousands of orders. Unfortunately, the launch turned out to be a failure, resulting in only 6 orders. However, this setback wasn't as significant as it seemed. He soon discovered that they were not the only business to struggle in gaining customers. This realization led him to focus on solving the problem of customer acquisition with his next venture. He started a lead generation agency with a friend. As soon as it took off, he decided to sell his shares to start a software-as-a-service company. G was frustrated with the tools they were using at the agency and believed he could create a better platform. He pitched this idea to 2 other friends, and they loved it. In January 2018, they launched Lemlist, a platform that helps people connect with their customers. They validated their ideas in 2 ways. Number 1, Product Hunt. Launching on Product Hunt is a real test to see whether or not your product brings something different to the table. For Lemlist, it was a success as they ended up number 1 product of the day, which means more signups. Number 2, AppSumo Lifetime Deal. Someone from AppSumo reached out to G to promote Lemlist in their community. After weighing the pros and cons of the deal, G decided to go ahead with it. At the end of the 14-day campaign with AppSumo, they received 3,304 new users and $162,000 in sales. Despite AppSumo taking 70% of the revenue, the campaign provided sufficient evidence that there was a strong demand for Lemlist. So how did they build a growth engine? While it is commonly advised to concentrate on a single acquisition channel, G found that approach uninteresting. From the early days, he tried multiple channels that didn't require money. The more channels he tested, the better the growth. A wild way to go. G started with cold emails. Then he built a community to help customers at scale and gather feedback and ideas. After that, he moved on to writing articles based on the community's topics and mentioned the community in the articles. Then, he shared the articles with the community, boosting traffic and shares, which took them to the first page on Google. Now, he started to publish his journey as an entrepreneur on LinkedIn. The last step of his strategy was to hire the right people to continue working on each acquisition channel once mastered. Lemlist's flagship feature, the email warm-up, was actually suggested by a community member named Vaibhav Sisinti, demonstrating the effectiveness of this fine-tuned strategy. G and the Lemlist team dedicated their efforts to developing their personal brands by consistently sharing content on LinkedIn for the past 2 years. In 2021, Lemlist successfully sold 20% of their shares, generating a remarkable $30 million. As a result, G and the team were able to cash out a significant portion of their shares, reaping the benefits of their hard work. Looking ahead, G has set an audacious goal of making every employee at Lempire a millionaire within the next 4 years.
Over the next 5 years, I plan to grow my team from 50 to 100 employees, but my ultimate goal is to make every single one of them a millionaire.
While it may seem ambitious, life wouldn't be complete without some wild goals to pursue alongside a team of extraordinary individuals. It will be interesting to follow their journey.